Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. I'm your host, Eric Ramirez, and I've got my awesome co-host here, Mando Gomez.
Yeah, New Year, man. You need to change the awesome, maybe put another adjective.
Oh, for 2024, we'll try something new. We'll see.
You have to.
Well, we're on episode 27, number 27. Hey, let's get into it. Dale.
Dale. All right, man. Let's start with the obvious thing. New Year's, right? How was your New Year's?
Man. Hey, it was pretty good. You know what? We took a couple weeks break here. So we had Christmas and New Year's. Man, I had a good time. Needed break. It had been a while since we had so many parties actually going on. I would tell you, it's kind of very interesting now with all the nephews and nieces and all the birthdays. We have like party season from like kind of like end of August all the way through all the way through January, and then it picks up with Valentine's and March, there's birthday and things like that. So it's just like it's been a lot of parties. So I got a chance to host a few. I even got to practice a lot of my grilling skills with the Traeger. So it's been really good. What about you?
Yeah, man. I have to travel to St. Louis. Man, it's just cold over there, man. I'm glad to live in live in more south. It's like it's like some places, some people like snow, some people like the cold weather, right? I'm not a fan. I think that I need too much vitamin D.
Do your joints start to hurt a little bit?
I guess. And the other thing is that I'm allergic to cats. And my in-laws, they have a couple cats. They did a great job on trying to minimize my discomfort.
Well, what happens? I've heard of that, but do you get hives or you just get eyes watering?
Like maybe 10 years ago or so, it was only maybe a little rash, like whatever, manageable. But I stopped actually being around cats for a long time. And now my literally like almost get like an asthma attack, right? So,
okay.
Last time I actually ended up in the hospital just because, and I didn't know that it would be that bad, right? So, yeah, I need to be careful. Cats are my kryptonite.
Oh man, well you gotta watch out. Get some extra
Benadryl. I think that the gods, they grab me from the hills, dip me in the thing like Achilles, and they put the cats as kryptonite for me.
Yeah. Oh man, well that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe I'll work that into your intro next time. No, well, it sounds like you had a good time either way for during the holidays. I know it's always a good time. I know for Latinos especially, right? We get together, we do all the tamales, we do all the presents and the staying up late and all of that. So
Dude,
I know
it starts with all of the posadas, right? Like Guadalupe Reyes, which starts in December 12th. Like for you, it starts in August. But for most of the other people, it's usually like the season is like December 12th. And for some people that they don't know the posadas, maybe a lot of people know the piñatas, right? And that's part of the posadas, which is basically you start a party. And it was very fun. I was explaining my daughters kind of the traditions and sometimes of the chanting, right? Like kind of the things that they have to do when they're singing, to go outside, and you have half of your family inside and half of the family outside, and they're singing a song, basically "Let me in," right? And it's like, and you're part of your family. Part of the chanting is like not allowing them to get in, right? Yeah. So, and then at some point, it's like, "Come on, let me in," and they have because they have the baby Jesus, right? So, and then they let them in, and then it's like the party starts and all of that. And obviously the piñatas, we all know piñatas. But I was telling my daughters that they used to be clay. Like the pots, really? They used to be clay, and that's the reason when you heat it, kind of almost exploded. That's and now, when I was younger, it's like, man, I hated it when it was paper, because it would take a long time to kind of heat it and just break it, right? Sometimes you couldn't even break it. And actually, the adults, they would have to come back and just split it, right? But yeah, that was kind of lame when they have to do that.
When they were clay, would you have to wear like safety goggles or something?
Dude, this was the 80s. Nobody cared in the fucking 80s.
Hey, this is
We were made to last, right?
yeah, built to last.
Yes, yes.
Built
So
for tough.
there was no, like, I mean, and obviously your knees were scraped because it's in the concrete. There was no grass. Like, this was like on Mexico City, right, on the concrete, in the jungle, the concrete
The
jungle.
concrete jungle, right?
And that, and dude, I have one memory of mine where uh I hit the piñata, and suddenly I hit it on the side, and the whole piñata just falls. And it was one of those stars piñatas that it just falls and it didn't break. Then I
Oh,
just literally grabbed the whole piñata, and my family is big, man, maybe 60,
uh,
70 people and cousins. They were running around me just to get.
oh, they were chasing you.
They were chasing me like to try to get the piñata, and obviously the adults and my uncles and my parents like, come on, Eric, like. But it was funny. I was carrying the whole piñata by
uh,
myself.
Travieso, right? That's what they say.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's too funny. Well, it's always a good time of year, and I think it's an appropriate time just to say thanks to all of our, our friends and family, subscribers that have been supporting us. This is we completed our first year. It's my 6, 7 months, I think, since we started. So, just wanted to thank everybody. Let y'all know that we appreciate the support, and we're gonna keep going. We really enjoy kind of sharing our lives and all of this tech and Bitcoin and crypto stuff with you.
For sure. And we all also love our haters too. So
The haters too.
yes, I mean it's part of it, right? Like it is what it is, right? So, but yeah, thank you for all of your comments and everything. Talking about more traditions, though, uh, I need to get better on that. I think that Mexican traditions, they're very good. Uh, One of them is like the ponche. Have you tried the ponche? Like the fruit punch with the sugar cane?
Oh yeah, yep. We
So
didn't
so
we didn't make it this year though. Usually we do,
okay.
but mhm.
Well, Katie, my wife, she's so awesome on traditions, right? She's always getting on those things, and then she put in our luggage all of the
Oh really? All the ingredients,
all of the
the sugar cane.
ingredients, sugar cane, and
They
all of
don't
the, I don't
have
know, in
they don't have caña
tejocotes.
in St. Louis.
I have no idea. Probably not, because I can tell you they didn't even have freaking peppers. I went to get some
Oh,
serranos into their store. I forgot the name on over there of
mhm,
their, like, equivalent to their own HEV.
mhm.
It's Snox or Schnucks or whatever, and
Uh,
they didn't have it. It's like, yeah. So that's the reason why I have tecaña, which is sugar cane,
uh-huh.
and all of that in the suitcase. I don't know the name of the jocotes. Do you know? It's like the yellowish fruit. It's very kind of hard.
Uh,
I forgot the name in English.
mm,
Whatever, but it's called tejocote. It's like it gives a little bit of flavor to the punch, right? My
mhm,
mom had a recipe. Some of the key ingredients, sugar cane, and you basically add all of the fruit that you want.
mhm,
Also, you need to add hibiscus, the plant. In
mhm.
Mexico, we call them jamaica,
Jamaica. Mhm,
which is kind of makes the punch a little bit reddish and a little bit more between sour and bitterish,
mhm.
and depending how that, and also very important piloncillo, right, which is like the
Piloncillo.
sugar, and then you just warm it up. I like to kind of warm the punch, and you just leave it there, man, for a
Mhm.
long time to that way the fruit gets the juice. But yeah, it's delicious. I recommend a lot of people to do it, right? Like, just give it a try. But yeah, that was one of the traditions too.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, I did make some Jamaica tea. I usually just brew it up just a little bit, but this time I use
Mm,
piloncillo. Also, piloncillo, if you're not familiar with it, it's like that. It's like that brown looking cone, and I
mm.
think it's like cinnamon, maybe, and brown sugar, something like that.
It's
But it
very
has
raw sugar, I believe.
raw sugar.
And it
Yeah,
has a, yeah, it's like a and should be a sugar cane as well, but it's just brown. It's just very raw. Yeah,
yeah. Well, it gives it either way. It gives it kind of a deep, rich, sweet flavor, right? It's a sweetener, so really good. You have to kind of boil it together with with the Jamaica tea the way I made it, but I didn't add the fruit. I just made it into normal tea. I missed out on the sugar cane, but
you miss out, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, wait, I mean, take the traditions with you, right? That's how they spread. And I think you're right. Like, I think part of the thing that drives a lot of the Latino culture is like the traditions, the things that we bring with us, things that we remember as kids, and we try to pass down to the future generations. So I think super important, and it's really interesting and important to kind of keep spreading those. Make
Hmm.
sure that we don't lose them. And I know it's really easy when you're assimilating multiple cultures and things like that, right? In the United States, you even adopt other traditions from other cultures, not just your own. So pretty interesting. But yeah, really important to kind of continue with your root cultures as well. Makes sense.
Yeah, and it creates a melting pot, right, on these
Mhm.
things. Like today, um, is Dia de los Reyes in Mexico, right? Which, for some of those that they don't know, is like Santa. It's basically, you know, a tradition here. But in usually in other countries, like in the case of Mexico, it actually was more this day, which is very similar to Christmas, right, where you get the presents and all of that. But the interesting thing here is that is the remembering the basically the three wise men, and also they're magical. They bring you gifts. It's similar to Santa.
Mhm.
So and
Three
and and
Santas.
trees and that's like and over there they call it kings, right? The three
Uh-huh.
kings, and in the Bible sometimes it's referred as the wise man. But yeah, it's and you see them, like people take pictures, like in malls and everything. You see the Santa and the three wise men, which is
Uh-huh.
funny. I probably have some pictures of myself with all of them, right? So yeah, I think that is fun, and again, you just remember these kind of memories, right? But yeah, to all of those kids, uh, behave so that way they can bring you gifts.
You don't get your lump of coal.
I guess the thing that I really like it though, it was there is a cake, the king cake, and it's basically for people that are living here in US. It's similar to it's a king, it's called king cake, right?
Yeah, I think
And
so.
maybe other people know it as Mardi Gras, the Mardi Gras cake. It's very, very similar,
Oh,
which
the
is
little
just
baby, right?
yeah,
You
and
it has a
and it
little baby
has and
inside.
it has plastic babies inside. And again, these traditions, like imagine the hazards, like oh, you choke on the freaking like plastic baby. But the tradition is if you are cutting the baby and you get a plastic baby, then you have to buy tamales in February. Uh,
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that
you have not heard that?
before. No, I
Hmm.
have not seen that. I mean, hey, I like the idea. Tamales are always a good. Tamales are always a good thing, right?
Yes, they are, and I think that that was a very nice tradition, at least in my family. But a lot of families do it, even in the offices. They will get when you go to the office, they call it rosca de
Hmm.
Reyes, which is kind of like the shape of a donut, right? But in a cake, in a very large cake, and then
Hmm.
they start splitting it, and then everybody's just laughing, right? Like, you got the plastic baby,
You
right?
you
So
got to buy tamales.
yeah, it's like this resemble again. It's remember a lot of the Hispanic culture is very religious, right? So it's also a remembering of Jesus.
Mhm.
So, and it's about literally 40 days after Christmas, and I believe it's February 2nd that all of the people, because sometimes they put four babies, sometimes only one, like who knows, depending if the baker was like drunk. They would put more, right? So, and whoever got the babies, they have to buy. They need to host the party
Uh,
to get tamales.
so it's not just tamales. You got to have the party. Well,
You have to
I
get the party.
in the office we would always do like you buy the king cake and it's usually just like the $10-15 one from HEB. Sometimes people would bring them in from Louisiana, right? Because they have these like very very tasty ones, and they look really nice, right? And they're like 100, $200, right? For those over there, especially when they get shipped in, or some people brought them in. But whoever got the little baby, they would have to buy the next one, and so it was kind of like a tag. And you know, we would get a new king cake every few days for like whatever the month following until it ended, right? And so it was always pretty fun. But after a while, people are like, no more, no more, no more king cake. And then people started saying, oh, there was no baby in this one, and so like it would end. I think people got tired of it, so we stretched that out a little bit, like once a week, one king cake a week, so it wouldn't be too many calories. But it's kind of fun. Those traditions, and king cake tastes good. So I like the ones that have there's some that have some filling also, some jelly filling.
Hmm.
Those are pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that here my point is enjoy the traditions, right? Like it's always a point to be around family. So yeah, it's always awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times. Well, again, it was a good year, but it's the start of 2024. So we got lots of good things coming this year. But, as one of my New Year's resolutions, I guess you could call it, is I got to practice a little bit more with my Traeger here. I did have some good. I will say, like I probably mentioned, right? I bought this Traeger. It's probably been about a month. I got it like right after Thanksgiving or something like that, during Black Friday. I was able to negotiate with them a little bit more. They gave me two grills, but anyways, I've had probably 5 briskets now that I've done in the last maybe 5 weeks. I've done like a brisket a week. Really good. They've all come out really good.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised with the Traeger, the smoker. It really
Mhm.
makes it a lot easier. I mean, you've got to have, like, for these long cooks, 14-15 hour cooks, whatever. It helps to have the what are they called,
The
the
sensors.
temperature spikes, to help you keep track of the internal temp of the meat. And once you got that, it makes it a lot easier, so when to
Hmm.
go out there, when to wrap it, when to do everything, take it out. So that's really cool. I've been working on that. What about you, Mondo? I know you're the one that showed it to me, the
Yeah, I mean,
Traeger.
it was in my house. I told you, we use it every week. We don't do it briskets.
Hmm.
We just do it for even for us, like burgers, salmon, like things like that.
Hmm.
But you inspire us, and we actually try a different thing this time. We actually did a trompo. For those that don't know
Ah.
what is a trompo, they also are known as pastor tacos, and basically. Katie got a dish that has like a spike in the center, so that way you can literally put the meat. So that you have to actually stack the meat because it has to in a proper trompo tacos. It's kind of rotating and it has the flames on the side.
Mm.
But we noticed that maybe the smoker can do a similar. You just need to open it and kind of put the juices on the fat into the meat. So yeah, that's what we did. It took about 6 hours. Stack the meat, right, and between all of us, every 30 minutes, just open or whatever, and just put the fat again, right, and that way just drips all of the fat. Dude, that thing was delicious. Like it was
Man.
like probably for 5 pounds of meat and just gone.
That's a lot of tacos.
That's a lot of tacos. A lot of it evaporates, right, and melts
Yeah.
from that. But it's like I was surprised. I got some pictures. I should put them in the uh, in our social media because yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you showed me the picture. It looked delicious, and even the pineapple that you
The
put on there,
pineapple, because that's
man, so good,
that
right?
that's something that I recommend anyone to try. I guess unless if you're Jewish, you might not.
Really, pineapples?
No, no, about pork, right? So it's
Oh,
pork.
oh, oh, yeah, like pineapples.
Pineapple Jewish, right? So uh, there's actually yeah. So and yeah, they put the pineapple. If you are in like in Mexico, you'll see those type of tacos everywhere, which are pastor tacos, and they are very fancy. They just literally cut them and they just get it
Yeah.
on their tortilla, right? So
So, and this is
uh,
the style that where it's almost like a cone that you build up, and And then you slice it down on the sides, right? Is that how you did it? And you get like the shreds of the meat as you slice it down the
Well,
sides.
now that I understand, is because when you are stacking the meat,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the fat. Pork has a lot of fat,
Mm-hmm.
and it's melting, and it just becomes so juicy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, when you are shaving it, the pressure and how it's being cooked is a little more cooked in the center for whatever reason, and in the outside is more crispy. So it's that
Mm.
combination of crispiness and which is just delicious, and the flavor of the pineapple that makes the whole thing. So you guys need to taste it. If you guys have never tasted a pastor taco, you have not lived.
Making me hungry here. Yeah, we need to share some pics. I think of some of our cooks. I think people might like that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's tech. I mean, literally everything that we're just saying is using a Wi-Fi slash, pallets, and you don't have to have a hassle. Yeah, for sure, it would be better to have like a charcoal and
Yeah,
like
the big
that. But
offsets and things like that. But
yeah, but like, look, this is so convenient, like so convenient. So
yeah, yeah, I can vouch for that. It makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to kind of manage that fire all the time. It's basically like an outside oven, right?
mm,
Outside oven, and it has smoke, enough smoke. It's not like an offset smoker where you have a ton of smoke from the wood and stuff like that. But it's enough to get the nice smoke ring, get the flavors in there, and it works out really well.
you can get an attachment for a pizza too. So
Mm,
that was the other one, and you can lift the temperatures, and that way the pizza is there. So probably I need to get that one to see if they
yeah,
taste good.
I have one of those uni Codys. I got it as a gift. I haven't used it yet to make a pizza.
Mhm.
So I'll let you know how that works. Maybe we'll talk about it on the once I actually do one. I got to do one. It's funny. I had pizza last night, so I was like, I just haven't made one yet.
Well, I hope
It's
that we
easier
are
to
not
buy it.
changing the channel to cooking channel here, man.
Everybody loves food. That's the thing. I think Latinos and food are like this. So it's like, I think that's it, right?
Mhm.
It's too funny. Well, I'm looking forward to. We need to get together, and I'll let y'all know maybe once we do one of the next briskets. Come try it, so
All
y'all
right,
can experience it, and you let me know when you do your next trompo.
sounds good.
All right. Well, moving on. I mean, just wanted to catch y'all up a little bit on kind of what we've been up to in the last couple of weeks since we haven't done any videos, but we'll be back on schedule here for the rest of 24. Let's go ahead and talk about our favorite thing here, Bitcoin news. There's been a lot of stuff going on around Bitcoin. We mentioned it in early December that there's a big decision coming up by the SEC on January 10th. I guess that's like one of their deadlines. Whenever one of these ETF like BlackRock, they make their application, and there's a lot of different dates, potential potential decision dates, and this January 10th is kind of like the final decision date that the SEC has. They either have to approve it or deny it. That's the last chance. They can't delay it anymore. So a lot of people have been hyping this up. This is going to be a big, huge thing. January 10th is the day. Some people thought it was going to be this last week or this previous week. We haven't really seen any news. We've seen some leaks here and there. People are, I think, trying to manipulate the news a little bit to drive either the price up or down. We saw actually a big dump the other day. It was like at 45K, 46K, something like that, and it dumped back down to around in the 40s, around 40K. But it's already came back up. I might be around 44, 45K. So, anyways, it's going up and down like 5-10%. And I think people are just trying to kind of figure out what the news are, but January 10th is the day. What have you heard, Mondo?
It's just a bet, right? Like always that you're investing or trading, you're betting. So um, I will be disappointed if they don't approve it, right? And probably the market will be as well. But it is what it is. I think that is imminent, and it will have to come, and hopefully the government see it, and we just move on and start actually going with the plan of the ETF, right?
Yeah. And so I think a big part of what's been driving some of the price fluctuations, and just a reminder, we're just two dudes on the internet, not financial advice here, but a lot of thing that's been driving it is like you, a lot of these ETFs are now starting to seed their funds in anticipation of everything getting approved. So they're buying like 10 million here, 20 million there, just kind of little bits here and there just to prime their pumps, right? They got to prime their processes to get some Bitcoins available for that in anticipation of this approval. Now, you might think, oh, 10 million here, 20 million there is not really that big of a deal. That shouldn't really drive too much of this price movement. So it's still, I think, a lot of retail being like normal people like me and Mondo going out there buying Bitcoin or whatever the
Yeah.
case is, right? That's what's driving a lot of it. But now they're saying that now even big banks are starting to get into the game. You're starting to see some partnerships coming up. The banks are trying to partner now with these ETFs, saying, "Okay, well, we can help. We can, partner with you. We'll drive people to your product, and we'll sell it as well." So, I think now everyone's starting to kind of see the writing on the wall. Should get approved. Rumors are that like BlackRock itself, once they get that approval, they've got $2 billion ready to buy, and that's just BlackRock. There's like 10 other applications out there that of people ready to buy as well. So that's why people are like, okay, this is coming. It's going to drive the price up a good amount. Nobody really knows how much, but
Yeah.
a good amount.
Yeah. And I think that if you think about it from the perspective of finances, people wanted to diversify. And that's the reason why this product is independently if you like it or not, right? So it's just a different product. And that's what you want sometimes in your own portfolio. Some people might be maxis, right? 90% of your net worth there. Some people want only 1%, right? So uh and it's the choice. Or even some people will say zero, right? Like and it's perfectly fine. But I think that for financial institutions, the premise is that if they put only like 1% of portfolios for pension funds or things like that, it's a lot of money, right? For because you have a city that has the pension fund for, I don't know, New York firefighters, right? And it's like they're going to invest 1% on this or even a couple points, but it's still like a good chunk, right? So that way you start seeing these financial institutions that they have already the money, and they are trying to diversify. So in that way, they are trying to find different products like this one. I do have a question for you. What is your take? Why the products for the futures they are not doing that well compared to maybe an ETF? What's your point there? What do you think that um, why this one will be better than the other ones, or even buying it, right?
Yeah. So from what I've seen, and this is part of the reason why people are like, hey, there's futures ETFs, and then there's like spot, which are the ones that we're trying to get approved right now, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? The futures is like, really, what do you think the price is going to be in the future? What they've seen is typically in these futures, they're used to short Bitcoin. So there's always been kind of a downward pressure on Bitcoin price with these futures ETFs, and so there has never been kind of this equalizing part, and a lot of people think that's why SEC hasn't yet approved the spot Bitcoin ETF because they like kind of this downward pressure. They didn't want that many people to get into it yet until they kind of figured out the regulatory scene. But now, I think they understand it. They got some of the big nefarious players out. Right, the FTXs are out, the Binance guys out, CZ, right? We've got Celsius and all these other smaller players are now out, so they try to clean up the industry a little bit, and now they say, okay, it's maybe a little bit safer now
Yeah.
to open this up to large institutional players, because if like you said, there's these big pension funds like the firefighter funds, the teacher funds. If the SEC allows these big pension funds to invest in something that's not safe yet,
Hmm.
Right. A lot of people could potentially lose their pensions and stuff like that. And it would not be good for the economy as a whole. So a lot of folks thought, okay, cleaned up the industry. We got a lot of the players in out there that weren't doing things correctly or right. Got those out, cleaned them up. Got Coinbase, which is I guess maybe U.S. based, but I think they also have right outside of the U.S. Based operations as well. But they're trusted. They've been working real closely with SEC. They are likely going to be the ones that manage a lot of the stuff for like BlackRock and things like that. They're the ones that are going to be hosting, um, at least to start with, hosting a lot of the actual Bitcoin and things like that. They set everything up to try to be as clean as possible. Now they open up the spot Bitcoin ETF. This levels the playing field now, so there's not the downward pressure from the futures ETFs that have been out there. And so you should see a slightly positive rise. There should be some upward pressure on the price and things like that now. And again, not financial advice, but that's what the outlook is looking like. So there's no longer this kind of constant downward pressure on the price, and it's just been retail, like people, onesie twosie people like you and me buying stuff up that's been having the price up. Now there's large
Hmm.
institutional players that are going to be driving the price up. And back, I don't remember, in maybe early December, there was like this news came out that said, oh, like it got approved. They bought so many billion, and that drove the price up like, I don't know, 10K or something like that. And that was just from a few billion buying, right? Potentially, we're going to see several billion buying right now. So, it should be an order of magnitude bigger in terms of price. I I'm obviously pro Bitcoin here, so I think the price is going to head towards 100K fairly quickly or fairly soon, knowing that also the Bitcoin halving is right around the corner in April. So I think those two things, it's really going to drive the price up. Even though typically we don't see the the peak, I guess, because right,
Hmm.
Bitcoin goes in cycles. The peak is not likely until historically 18 months after the halving. So we're talking about like summer or October of 2025 when we'll see the next peak. And
Yeah, I
that could be a
mean,
lot higher.
and that's right now. That's what we are waiting, right? And there is going to be this milestone in a few days, so we'll keep you posted on the news. But yeah, it's going to be everywhere.
If it does not get approved, yeah, it could be a bit of a shit show out there. So we'll see what happens. I know, Mando, you said, you know what would be funny in one of our last videos, right? A lot
Yeah.
of times they say the market does the opposite of what everyone thinks, so that's always the danger here. It's good to understand that, yeah, it could be a no. It could get rejected for whatever reason. There haven't been many good
Knowing the
reasons why.
government, they forgot a checkbox in the form.
You're right. And it's just like, oh, well, you got to reapply or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
we know BlackRock's track record. I think they've got like 500 or 600 applications. Only one has ever been denied. So I think a lot of people are betting that, yeah, it's gonna get approved. But you know what? On the other side, right? Let's say it does not get approved. The BlackRock ETF gets rejected, and they all get rejected, right? It puts the SEC kind of in a bad position. It kind of paints them into a corner a little bit because we saw what happened with XRP and things like that.
Hmm.
XRP, there was a lawsuit. XRP brought a lawsuit towards the SEC saying, like, look, we've been trying to comply with you guys the whole time, but you guys are like playing games here. Well, the judge agreed, and they sided with XRP, which kind of cleared them from all the things that the SEC was saying they did wrong. So, XRP won. That maybe helps set a little bit of precedent here that, hey, if SEC doesn't approve these other ETFs, um, they're all going to sue the SEC. And I don't think the SEC wants to be embarrassed by that and have the judges one by one say, no, we're siding with all of these cryptos. So I think it's better if it's on the SEC's terms and not necessarily handled in the courts
Hmm.
necessarily. So they're kind of painted into a little bit of a corner right now.
Yeah, and it's that pressure, right? Even for politicians, and we have seen it with tech in uh, different products. Like in the case even Uber was breaking the law for a long time. The company, and at the end of the day, they approve it with certain rules. But I think that that's kind of the usually the friction between kind of companies that they are evolving and they are like bringing new products and trying to comply with the rules and all of that. So, but yeah, we'll see in the next few days what is the outcome of this.
Yeah, for sure. So it's 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 coming to a head here pretty soon. So pretty exciting times for lots of Bitcoin holders. We're kind of see what's going to happen. The landscape's about to change. We don't know in which direction, but 2024 is going to be very very interesting time. Moving on, I think the last time we saw a lot of interest out of our billionaire watch. I saw this interesting story about Bezos, right? Your buddy Bezos,
My previous boss.
your previous boss Bezos. They're saying that I think he found his new crib.
Okay, it's a shack.
Not likely a shack. Well, so there's this and let me tell you, there's this area called or subdivision called Indian Creek. It's like near Miami in Florida. Apparently this is
There's a lot
where
of Indian people around that, or
yeah, you know what? I'm not sure which Indian they're talking about, but more than likely it's our Native American. I don't really know, but in this Indian Creek place, the average home price they say is about 100 million. But they're saying
I'm a bit short.
Bitcoin got to go up a lot to be
Yeah,
able to
in
hit
order to
that.
100 meals homes, huh? Okay.
$100 million. And here's the thing: it's like all the billionaires like decided, hey guys, like they're on this WhatsApp probably that you said they have, right?
Hmm.
They're like, hi guys, where are we gonna set up this year? Like, hey,
I got the invitation, but I declined it, man.
yeah, you're like, yeah, I don't got time for all that, right? They're too chatty, those billionaires, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, it seems like they're all congregating into like this area apparently. So back like just a few years ago, like before COVID, apparently it was only $20 million homes, right? uh,
Okay.
but now all the billionaires have decided, hey, this is an interesting place to go set up, buy a home, and it's kind of this small enclave, right, where people billionaires are now setting up shop. $100 million homes. So it's like Bezos, Tom Brady, all of these like famous billionaires are setting up. And what's really interesting is that it's a man-made island near the coast of Florida, right? If
Mm.
you look it up in your creek, you can see pictures and kind of where some of these rich folks are living, right? But it's interesting because they're trying to like seclude themselves. And when I was reading about this, a lot of other articles also came up about how billionaires are now starting to kind of create their own towns, their own cities that have their own rules. I'm like, this is really, really interesting because I think I even mentioned like, Mark Cuban, right? He sold a
Hmm.
big majority stake of his of the Mavericks basketball team. And news were coming out that he was trying to buy a small town also. So this might be like the next thing that a lot of these folks are trying to do.
It's not the best thing though. It's just literally they're trying to be like kings, right? Like I used to be that you have this like Bill Gates. That's the
Mhm.
other billionaire. He holds a lot of farming land in US. I think that he's the number one holder of land, which is like it's weird. Something that is like literally there is this thing in Silicon Valley where they say bits not atoms, right? Like it basically focus on software, don't focus on physical things. Well, this guy found it as well, kind of part of Silicon Valley, right? So and now he's buying land.
Now he's going after the atoms. See, that's what they do. They do the Jedi mind trick on you, like bits, not atoms, and then they go off and do the opposite. What's up with that?
It's control though. That's
Yeah.
what it is, and I think that
Mhm.
is like the Jedi is the same thing, right? So you just need to pay attention, right, on these things, on what do they do. The other one is suck, right? Like Zuckerberg, he also spending 50 to 100 mils on a bunker, which that's a weird one, right? Like
Mm.
all like these guys are trying just to be in Miami, partying, like Joloing, right? They're billions,
Yeah.
but suck is more like in a bunker. Uh, that was weird too on the billionaires watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of preppers. When you're a billionaire, I'd imagine, right? You have all the resources that you'll ever need, right? And so you have the opportunity to prepare for every scenario, right? Oh, you know what? Speaking of, I don't know if you've seen that movie yet. The one with Julia Roberts. I forget what it's about, but it's
The
kind
end
of
of the air,
like,
whatever. Yeah, I have not seen it. I know which one that
oh,
you're
okay,
referring.
really good. I really recommend it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it has to do something like there was some type of an event that happened, and people are trying to figure out, oh crap, what do we do now, or what happened? And there's a lot of stuff they're unsure about what's going on. So I recommend it. Go watch it. It's pretty interesting, but I think it feeds into the mindset, like uh, you've got to be a little bit prepared. At least this is the what billionaires are thinking, right? Because they have all of this access to the money. That's what they're doing. The bunkers and their preppers and things like that. Not to say you have to be a billionaire to do that. I think everyone can do a little bit
No, I
at
think that
their
you're
own
spot
scale,
on.
right?
You just reminded me. We were a few people in a meeting with Elon Musk, and he basically told us, guys, only the paranoid survive. So, and I remember, and this is coming from a billionaire, right? Like Elon.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's like he was very clear. Only the paranoid survive when he acquired Twitter, right? So, and yeah, he was paranoid.
Yeah, I guess that's why he built the cyber. You could probably see it over my shoulder here, and then he built the
Bulletproof.
bulletproof cyber truck.
Yes.
Right. Oh, it's too funny. Well, I don't know. I thought it was just really interesting to see like there's this trend, right, of like they're creating their own communities and things like that. And I saw that there's like even not necessarily billionaires, but a lot of the Silicon Valley leaders in that area, they're also trying to build their own communities where they do
Mhm.
have their own rules, their own laws, I guess self govern, um, where they say like, "Oh, we want our freedoms." Like, it's like, okay, this seems a little silly, but yeah, I'm just very curious. There's obviously they feel like they seem a little cynical, right? Like, hey, we got to take care of ourselves, right? We're gonna build our own little town, build the walls up. It's funny, and a lot of the Reddit posts and stuff like that for Bitcoin, they talk about citadels. I don't know where that actually started from or came from, but they're saying in the future the people that actually have the Bitcoin are the ones that are going to have right all the power because eventually, right down the line, 100 years from now, that's what everything is going to be in Bitcoin. So
you,
it's
you
kind
need
of
to
interesting.
you need to watch Rick and Morty, the show, right? I think that
Oh,
I have
okay.
even a shirt, right? So this guy, his name is Rick Sanchez, and
Uh-huh.
yes, the guy is Hispanic, and he's like a super genius type of
Hey,
a guy.
we need to do a short on Rick Sanchez. Like, is this guy Mexican? Just like we did with AC Slater. That one went viral. It's one of our biggest ones. 10,000 views almost.
Yes, we should. But I think that he built a citadel. So,
Okay.
so it's basically, and he clones himself, right? The guy inverted, he basically has a machine to be able to teletransport between, different dimensions or places. So, and he also cloned himself. So, and sometimes he asks like the body to be able to transfer his body. And again, it's a genius. It's a very interesting show. Sometimes super fast. Sometimes it's hard to even follow like what the hell just happened, right? And actually, at the end of the show, the one of the kind of the closers is like, do you get any of that? So it's not for kids, so just
Uh,
watch out. But yeah, it is good. I like it. I just finished the last season, so
oh, that's awesome. You're the second person. My buddy Raul also told me about that. I'll I'll go look it up. Where do you watch it on? Is it like on
it is
Prime,
in a
Hulu, Netflix, or is it like on regular TV?
Adult Swim. But if you
Okay.
don't have it, then you can buy it just the season on Prime, which sometimes I do if I wanted to put it on the projector or whatever. So
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah,
Oh, okay. I'll
pretty
check
good.
it out.
But yeah, going back to the money, right? So I think that these are all concepts, like all money, right?
Hmm.
And you have like your type of empire where you used to have like these areas or this land, and I think by talking about that, I want my castle. It's like
Okay. Have you
I'm
mentioned
gonna.
this to the audience before? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think
No.
so.
Okay.
It's like I do want. I don't know if I want it in Paris or Spain or Italy. I'm still debating, but
Hmm.
I want a castle.
You got to put it out there.
It's like with me and the Gomites. I don't think that Katie likes that name, right? Like I need
The
to figure
Gomites.
out the Chateau
Uh,
Gomez.
uh, Gomai, maybe Gomai. That's the plural, right?
I
Uh,
have no idea because the Gomez Ramirez, right? Like it has already the Z, so maybe you cannot do the plural. I
Ramirai.
have, yeah, I have no idea on it, but stay tuned. I'm looking in Christie's the castles.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. I've run across a lot of YouTube channels where they go, I guess they purchase a castle and they like renovate it and things like that. Because a lot of them can even be like abandoned castles, right?
Hmm.
And
It's
so,
it's just a fixer upper.
a little fixer upper, right? Well, that's something else. I mean, that's pretty interesting. What do you like about castles, by the way?
Why not? It's like one of those things that is like a lot of history. I like kind of history. I like humanity. I understand the kind of the concepts around it, right? Um, I don't know. It's some of the old traditions too, right? There's a lot of it, right, around it, and it's just it feels to me that some of these are abandoned and they shouldn't. They shouldn't be
Mm,
abandoned. It's like there is a lot of rich history on them, right? So it attracts me. I think that is
yeah.
just one of those like an his preference, like why somebody would choose a Cybertruck versus a Ferrari versus a Lambo, right? It's just
Hmm.
preference, and I
For
just want
sure.
my castle.
Yeah, I agree with you on that about the historical significance. I like appreciate that work or building something that stands time, right? And those castles are still there. They may be abandoned, but that's because they were built to last, right? And it just
Yeah,
needs to be restored back to their original grandeur and like make them look beautiful again. So I'm all about that. I love taking something that is kind of old and bringing it back to life. I like kind of building things. So I totally agree with that
Have
sentiment.
you
It's
have
pretty
you
cool.
have you heard this thing? It's like if you are doing something with your hands, you're a laborer. If you are putting some of your brain and your hands, the combination is you're a craftsman. All right. But if
Hmm.
you're putting literally your brain, your heart, and your hands, then you're an artist.
Ah, I like
so
it.
so I'm an artist.
That's pretty cool. No, I haven't heard that. That's awesome. That's really nice. But yeah, I think that would be an awesome project. Yeah, maybe you can start your YouTube channel when you find one and start restoring it. You get one of those other
That's
channels going, right?
restoring that would be a good project.
It's a long
But yeah,
project.
it's a long project.
Yeah.
But going back to reach all money, um, I think that there is a concept here on trying to see abundance, and I try to teach my kids this aspect because it's very hard to to grasp. And And sometimes you hear, and by the way, when we are talking about this, trust me, we are not about trying to show off or anything like that. It's not about that. But I think that is more about that is possible, right? And I think that it starts with your mindset on trying to figure out, because sometimes some people might not think that it can be possible, or might be that it's like how in the heck they did it, right? And I
Mhm.
think that the way that you need to see it is there is an abundance everywhere. um, Maybe you can see, well, there is not a lot of gold. I agree, but you might actually see a whole like meteorite and it has a chunk of gold, and it's like how many of those are, how many stars, right? And it's just unlimited, right? Almost. So I think that kind of unlocks the thinking of having an abundance mindset. What's your take
Yeah.
there on abundance?
I like that thought. I would say, like, growing up, I didn't necessarily see it like monetary abundance and opulence and stuff like that, right? Most people don't see that, right? And so I think I saw maybe some splashes of it, though I didn't understand it in context once I got into high school. I saw some friends had a little bit more than others, right? And just kind of seeing uh, what is possible and seeing that, hey, we're all normal people and stuff like this is possible. Of course, now I know, as an adult, like seeing kind of where some of these homes were and things like that is like, okay, like they were really doing really well. And now I kind of understand in context. But I will tell you, like, remember I went to Boston not too long ago, earlier in the year, and we went to Rhode Island. And Rhode Island is where they have all of these mansions. And they're on this TV show called Gilded Age, which, if you're into like that Downton Abbey
Mhm.
show, you might like Gilded Age. I think it's on HBO. I believe there's a couple of seasons. Pretty interesting. But they have these just huge mansions, and when we visited them, because you can do like a tour of these mansions over there. Highly recommended. It's just like, you don't understand that when these were built, how much money it actually took to build them.
Yeah.
Like the amount of money, like they must have been more than just billionaires, like multi-billionaire, tens billionaires, right? Like, to be able to afford this stuff and be able to build these things. These estates, right, are just huge, and it's like whole city blocks worth of an estate, and you have these huge mansions, and they're not like, there's not that they just have lots of rooms. It's just like all the detail that's built into them, all the, like, the paneling, all of the gold leafing, the chandeliers, how big they are, the size of the windows. I mean, I guess also, like, having built my home, right, I understand like how much, like, man, how much this costs, and then extrapolating to, like, holy shit, like,
like
how did they
like
even
300
afford that?
windows,
Like,
right?
it's like, it just like really doesn't compute. It's really
Yes.
hard to fathom, like, what it took to build those things. And again, those things stand the test of time, right? They've been there for, 100 years, or, almost a couple 100 years, or whatever the case is. And it's really interesting to see that, those homes, and they're just amazing, highly opulent. They're right on, like, the water, so they have these views.
Hmm.
They have all this land, where, at least like in the city, we've got like this little chunk, 10,000, 20,000 square feet of land, whereas over there they have like just massive, like, hills and stuff, and on the beach. It was very crazy. So that opened my eyes, like. But speaking on, like, abundance, it's like you have to become aware of it, right?
Hmm.
If you don't become aware of it, you don't really know that it's there, it's available, and maybe you don't have something to strive towards. So I think that's part of it, is like, um, see what's out there, become aware of what's out there, see if there's something that you like, and then, like, pinpoint it and say, that's my goal. You may not get to that goal, but you might get close to it, right? Whether it's say
Yeah.
reach for the stars, land on the moon, or something like that. It's kind of that same philosophy. So, I growing up, I didn't think too much in that way. and now I'm just like, okay, well, my nieces and nephews, like I want to make sure that they're aware of what's possible, so that as they start figuring out what their dreams are, they're able to see what can be done for them or what they can aspire to.
And I think that sometimes it's traveling. Like you just went to Rhode Island, right? So if you go to Europe, it's like you see this, right? Maybe my castle has to be in Europe, right? France, Italy, Spain, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that also gives you perspective, which is just different perspectives.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think I've mentioned it before that like I'm interested in getting like the multiple passports, and they're like, are you a spy?
So
Or are you like
you're gonna be a passport bro.
passport bro? Yeah.
Dude, I tell Katie, and she gets so angry. My wife,
Uh,
it's like, Katie, I'm a citizen of the world, and she's like, no, you need to find a home. Like, no, I'm like, I have a Jewish heritage.
I've got the Ashkenazi. What is it? The
I have to ask, yeah,
0.2%
like
of the
exactly, like,
DNA.
but yeah, I think that it's my point here is like it's part of that abundance, right? If you're in a place, look, I love America, I move over here. Texas is awesome, right? But if things start changing, that is not good for me and my family, right? Like, hey, it's like, or safe, right? Like, let's say that there is a war or something like that, right? You have to have a plan B or C, right? Obviously, there for me, I have a citizenship as well in Mexico, right? But
Mhm.
I think that there is a chance for me as well to get a European passport because my grandma is from Spain. So um, yeah, and it's like, why not? Why not to use these passports, right? And and sometimes it doesn't take that much to do, right? Like I just to do the paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially if like Mexico, right? Like my parents born in Mexico, so I should be able to get Mexican citizenship. It's just about the paperwork. And then also like you mentioned, the Spanish. I think I have Italian on some of my side, but I think it's in my great grandparents. And so I can't I'm not sure how that would work if I would be able to inherit. I don't know if they allow it that
Do you
far.
have also Ashkenazi? Probably, right?
Yeah, maybe I might be able. Oh, yes, I do, but I don't think I can inherit any type of citizenship with that I know of. Yeah, I mean those DNA leaks. Now everybody knows. It's on the dark web, right?
It's on the dark web, like all your information and DNA. Is like they might be able to clone you. Oh, baby Jesus, help us!
I don't know. Well, I think these are really interesting topics. Anything else you want to say about this abundance and your
No,
plant
we'll keep touching base on this topic because I think that it's just it's always different perspective, right? To be able to look different ways.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I think that's all what that we've got for today. I just want to encourage y'all to like, subscribe, and comment. We love seeing the engagement. It's really fun. I want to do a shout out to my friends, Raul, Jay, Leo. You guys have been commenting and letting me know how much you guys enjoy the content. So I just want to make sure you guys know that we appreciate y'all. Mando.
Yeah, shout out to Jason. It's like he has been helping us to shape the pod, to give some structure. So thank you.
Yeah. So again, appreciate it. Happy New Year. We'll see y'all next time. We'll see you sin miedo.
Dale, bye.
Bye.